Kuzangpo, I'm Ashok Tirwa. In this program, we have two guests from the Regional Revenue and Customs Office, Thimphu. We have Kesang Deki, who is the tax head of RRCO Thimphu, and the Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Gyeltshen. So you have had this workshop on TDS, Tax Deducted at Source, so for government departments, and soon you'll have one for the business as well as for the corporate bodies. Why such workshop?
Firstly, before I explain on that, I would like to stress that we in the department, we have been facing a lot of complaints or grievances from the taxpayers on the TDS. So that's why we felt that it is this such type of a workshop is very much needed to create awareness both among the withholding agents as well as the taxpayers, so that they are able to understand what type of, what are the methods and procedures that has to be adopted in order to avail tax deduction at source. So in the first phase, what we are trying to do right now is we are having the workshop for the government agencies. They mainly are part of this tax deduction at source as a withholding agent, because they are the ones who mainly deduct the taxes from the suppliers, from the contractors, or any type of payments which they make. So we thought that it is very much necessary that we sensitize them on how they should be deducting, on how they should be depositing, and on what type of certificates they should be issuing to the taxpayers, so the taxpayers do not feel any difficulties at the time of availing tax credit. Then on the part of the private sectors, which we will be conducting from 21st to 25th of July, I think we felt that the taxpayers, they should know like on what type of income or what type of income payments they receive, the tax will be deducted, and at the time of getting their payments, what they should insist for, especially the TDS certificates, like they should know what should be there in the certificates, so that they do not land up coming to us with incomplete documents, whereby then they feel that we are harassing them when we do not give them the tax credit.
Does the personal, the salary, the organization piece, it also comes under tax deduction?
Yes. In fact, whatever salary being paid by the organizations, there is a threshold to that. Any salary payment above 8,333 actually is subject to TDS. So in that case, like the disbursing organization, the moment it exceeds the threshold, they are expected to deduct as per the rates prescribed by the department. So in fact, it's already being circulated to the agencies, and they know, and they have been doing that.
And you have a system called VAS, Budgeting and Accounting System, and now you're trying to move into the TDS module. How different is it?
Actually, Budget and Accounting System, the abbreviated form is BAS system, is actually being used by Department of Public Accounts and not DRC. Why we wanted to go for integration actually is the current practice. There's a lot of complaints and grievances from the taxpayers saying that whenever they supply to any of the agencies here, like they are not being given with either the TDS certificate or whatever the TDS certificate being given to them actually is not complete. So they always feel that they have a right on the TDS amount since it is their part of income. So when they file their returns with the concerned RSUs, they are not in a position to produce the complete documents, whereby like at times they fail to get the credit of TDS. So keeping all those problems in mind, Department of Revenue and Customs actually has come up with this integration. And actually this integration is in line with the GG Plus recommendations, where like people have already made such kind of a complaint, and whereby we need to streamline something so that things go in the right way. Even the taxpayers, they get the credit of whatever is being withheld from their income. So in the BAS and TDS integration, actually what we are doing in this system is we are relying totally on the BAS system. So here, like this facility in fact will be extended only to BAS users. Here would mean like government agencies only. And besides that, no other agencies will be in fact using this system. So in the BAS system, the main advantage of this integration is first thing we wanted to facilitate the finance officers or whosoever is using the system and issuing a TDS certificate. With this system, we feel that the major workload of the finance officers, or for that matter the accountants, in issuing a TDS certificate will be reduced. And moreover, the originality is there, saying that because when you go for human, like manual things, human errors are bound to happen. But then with the system, BAS system is such that it's like whatever is being captured in the BAS, we pull out in the system, and then from there we generate a TDS certificate. And it is even ensured that the TDS certificate should be issued to the taxpayers on the spot when they remit their TDS money to the concerned RRCOs. Now, not only with that benefit, in fact, it is even going to benefit our concerned RRCOs. Until now, whatever remittance that comes to RRCO, our people have been punching in manually. Every details is being punched into our system. But now with this integration, what we feel is whatever actually is being used by the agencies, it can be imported in the form of soft copy, and then we can upload it in our system, and thereby we can really reduce our workload. So basically these are the advantages. And moreover, with this integration whereby the withholding agencies ensure that TDS certificates are given to the taxpayers on time, we feel that one way we are now really going ahead with the taxpayer service.
People have this doubt why the Department of Revenue and Customs asks for the documents at the time of filing the TDS and as well as at the time during the assessment time.
Why we have to insist for the documents at the time, that document meaning the TDS certificate,
TDS, yes.
at the time of when the taxpayer is or business unit is filing the tax return, is mainly to ensure that they have that the TDS certificate is for that unit. Whatever information is passed on to us by the withholding agents, whatever is deposited to us, that information is kept by the department so that we could use it as an information to trace if any of the business units or taxpayers are trying to evade income. We use that as a cross-reference at the time of audit, so that the taxpayers should not necessarily think that when the money is being remitted to the department, that information, we should be using our information, because the taxpayer also should insist for the TDS certificate when the money is deducted by the withholding agent. So the taxpayer also should insist for the certificate, so they also know what is the amount that is being deducted from their bill.
So which means you're saying that they should ask for 2 copies at least?
No, they do not ask for 2 copies. The withholding agent, what they do is when they are making the payment, when they are making the payment, they will issue a check to the taxpayer for the money, what is supposed to be paid to them. Then the other part is the TDS. The TDS check, it has to come to RRCO with the schedule, which taxpayer's money it's being deducted, that amount has to come to us. So whatever is given to the taxpayer, that same thing comes to us. So that information is used by us as for information for audit purpose, whereas the taxpayer has to show us that document at the time of his submission of accounts.
Final assessment.
Yeah, at the time of assessment. So that is mainly to
If I
ensure
just
that for
clarify-
verification.
Just to add on Madam's comment, why usually we insist basically here, when you say 2 documents, people might get people might think that we are insisting 2 similar documents. Actually, it's not 2 similar documents. The one which we get at the regional office level, actually it is a part and parcel of their remittance check. Without that schedule, a check cannot be accepted, or because probably in that check amount there will be a details, isn't it? And we do not know from which party they have actually withheld that money. So to ensure that that schedule is being accompanied with the check, and then to ensure also we punch it in our system as per the details being submitted. Now later on at the time of assessment, we usually don't insist on the schedule which actually is being submitted at the initial stage. But at the time of assessment, since taxpayers they claim adjustment on the TDS part, we further reconfirm ourselves whether these people have really obtained the TDS certificate from the withholding agencies or not. As long as they produce the TDS certificates, we do acknowledge that one and give the credit.
So coming back to the system, and there were concerns from the participants while I was attending a small part of the session that maybe do you have good infrastructure to transfer data through online?
In fact, we have been discussing that, and there are three modes like just now. What we can do is they can either send the soft copy through floppy, they can either email it us, or they can generate the data in a folder and then send it to us. Now, while putting it in a folder, it can be either through email or through some other drives. It can be an external drive or thumb drive. Usually at the time of workshop, what we recommend is to create in a folder, and then given the internet service we have just now, although like they were saying, like in case of BAS, they have been doing it through internet only. So we are saying as long as it is possible for you to send it through internet, then it should not be also a problem for us to upload it. But at the same time, we have recommended that why not you use an external drive, so that probably at a month end you send the data to us, we can upload it, and then you can give back your external drives.
And then the other day there were some concerns raised from the floor, saying that the certain things were not included in the TDS but should have been included, like perks and allowances.
I think like in that case,
We have to discuss.
from our side, fundamentally this should have been included. But now in case of this integrated system, these things are not there because our TDS module is fully dependent on BAS system. And in BAS system, this provision actually is not created. So we have taken note of that, and probably like when we go for enhancement or so, then we are going to incorporate that. But that thing has to be incorporated in BAS system and not in our system, because our system is totally dependent on them. So if those details are being captured on the BAS system, the TDS module, what we do is we just retrieve those data, and then we generate a TDS certificate from there. So these things probably from the department side will take up with DPA, and then we'll make sure that these provisions are created in BAS system, and so that we could retrieve the information in the TDS module. Yes.
So just now, how do you maintain data? Do you do it manually or at present? Because TDS looks like it's going to
At present, in our system, these provisions are there, whereby like we even have a field for allowances to be captured. Not only on allowances, then if there's any other benefits being given to an employee or an recipient, we capture it under other benefits field. But here, like, if we capture it in our system, this is not going to serve purpose in the integrated system, because our system actually is dependent on BAS, as I said earlier. And whatever data we use in our system actually is being pulled out from the BAS system. So as long as like we make sure that these things are punched in BAS system, then only we are going to get it. But for the time being, what we do is, in our system, you already have this provision. As I said, we are doing it manually. We are punching on a daily basis, like, as and when we receive the remittances. So there, like, we already have a provision that we punch in everything. And whatever is being missed out, probably there may be cases where, like, because of a policy change, things are not there in the system, but then at the end, it so happened that it has to be formed part of the salary, or it is subject to tax. What we do is, at the time of assessment, at the time of filing, we do inform the taxpayers that these things actually is subject to tax, so it has to be regulated or added back. So accordingly, what we do is we add back, and then together we do it, and then we work out their tax liability. But in the integrated system, this thing is not there. But as we go on, I think it will be taken care of.
Then, when you are deducting tax at the source, what are some of the exemptions?
We have a list of exemptions. I think we have a booklet which covers quite very broadly on all the TDS, all the information on TDS and the exemptions, or what type of income the TDS, what rates have to be deducted. And this TDS is like, it covers under the BIT as well as CI, the business income tax, corporate income tax, as well as the personal income tax. There are different rates of TDS. So for exemptions under TDS, under the BIT, CIT, we have like, if I quote some of them, is like, you do not have to deduct TDS if it is a purchase made from a dealer, that is a dealer of motor vehicle only, or two-wheelers. And if it is a commission agent for cement, then you do not have to deduct TDS on any payments made to them. Then also you have like payments made for the petroleum products like HSD, petrol and kerosene, your BOD fuel advances. For those type of payments, there is no TDS law. Then other than that, we also have like travel agents who deal with airline tickets only. The cost of the tickets, then there is no TDS on that. Then we have like utility bills, like those, so there's no TDS.
What is the basis for exemption?
The basis of exemption is mainly like when we talk about travel agents dealing in airline tickets, what happens is supposing the travel agent bills me a bill for the ticket. What happens is if you ask them to deduct TDS on the whole amount, and whereas that whole amount is not sole income for them, they will just be earning a small commission on that ticket, on the travel agent ticket. So we felt that if you ask them to deduct 2% or the TDS on it, what would happen is it would be a liquidity problem for the travel agent, because they are mainly dealing on a commission basis. So the same goes for motor vehicles also.
So what about the cases where purchase is made outside the country?
If a direct purchase is made from a manufacturer based outside the country,
then
it's an exception where like TDS is not applicable. But where like you make a direct purchase outside the country but not a manufacturer, probably from an open market, it depends whether there are certain documents. Now in that case, if the purchase order actually has gone off from the country, but and also the supply actually has made to the country, it's subject to TDS, and the TDS rate we adopt here is 3%, unlike for the national licensed business people.
Just for the benefit of our viewers, could you just give the important list of documents that they should come with when they are filing taxes?
For the business income tax and the corporate income tax, or for that matter, even personal income tax, when you come and file your returns, means the most important thing related to TDS is, since your money is already deducted at source, you should always make sure that you bring a TDS certificate which is complete. So what we mean by complete is you have to ensure that the certificate quotes, we have a standard form whereby the withholding agents are required to fill in that form and give it to the taxpayers. So in that, the main thing which we look at is ensure that the TDS amount which is deducted is correct, it is in line with what has been deducted. The amount reflected in the TDS certificate is not something which is less or more than what has been deducted. Then another important thing that they have to note is they should ensure that the check number of the TDS remittance to the department, to any of the RSUs, like the withholding agent, when they deposit with us, so that check number or the receipt number is correct. They do not put the check number for a payment made to the taxpayer. There can be two types of checks. One is for the payment which the taxpayer is going to get. So sometimes what happens is the withholding agents, they tend to quote that check number, which is not right, because the TDS remittance check number should be quoted. So if those numbers and these details are correct, then I think there should be no problem, because when we cross-verify with the documents which are there in our office, then we feel that it does tally, and it's very easy to give the adjustment, and thereby the taxpayers also would not feel any problem, much of a harassment. Anything to add?
Anything to add?
I think that's it. Basically, we would further insist that TDS certificates do accompany with their returns, and the TDS certificate actually is in a complete form. And with this new system, I think now most of the things will be taken care, because we need not now have to worry whether that check number is reflected is correct, or whether some of the informations, whether it's missing or not, because with this system, the withholding agencies are now going to generate TDS certificate from the system. So at least we can now assure that TDS certificates would be authentic, accurate, and also will make sure that now taxpayers, they get the credit of whatever is there in the TDS certificate. So the most important document they have to bring along with the returns is the TDS certificate. And they should make sure that they insist on that from the withholding agencies.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. The Department of Revenue and Custom is trying to change its system of deducting tax at the source to benefit all the taxpayers. I'm Ashok Tirua. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.